It is time for a serious conversation about the 25th Amendment. You need to look directly at the reality unfolding right in front of us. Donald Trump just experienced a public mental breakdown on Monday night. He held a brief press conference immediately after the college football national championship game in Miami. This was not a normal political appearance. It was a complete and total disaster. You do not need to be a mental health professional to see that this man no longer has the capacity to be entrusted with the nuclear codes. In that power-fueled delirium, Trump admitted something his supporters have long tried to deny. He openly acknowledged that he invited Vladimir Putin to join his so-called peace council. Let that sink in. The President of the United States is inviting an internationally wanted leader, one who is waging a brutal war in Europe, to sit on a body supposedly dedicated to peace. This is not diplomacy. This is surrender. This is a systematic plan to dismantle NATO and the United Nations from the inside. Trump confirmed this without hesitation. When a reporter asked whether Putin had been invited, he answered flatly, yes, he was invited. That cold, unequivocal response makes it clear that Trump no longer views Russia as an adversary. He sees Putin as an ally in reshaping the world order in an authoritarian direction. You need to understand that this peace council was never designed to deliver peace. It was designed to replace Western democratic alliances with a club of dictators. Trump is selling out U.S. national security interests in exchange for the favor of authoritarian regimes. He is positioning America against its longtime allies while aligning with its most dangerous enemies. This is treasonous behavior disguised as peacemaking. We cannot afford to ignore the existential danger this represents. The madness does not stop with Russia. Trump has now turned his attacks toward one of our longest-standing allies, France. President Emmanuel Macron refused to take part in Trump's sham council, and Trump's response was not diplomacy or persuasion. It was the petty revenge of a schoolyard bully. Trump announced that he would impose a 200% tariff on French wine and champagne. He said, I'll slap a 200% tariff on it and he'll have to join. That is the language of extortion, not statesmanship. Trump is weaponizing the economic power of the United States to coerce world leaders into submitting to his personal will. He does not care about the impact a 200% tariff would have on American consumers, American restaurants, or American importers. He cares only about soothing his wounded ego. Trump also mocked Macron, saying that he'll be out of office soon anyway. That contempt for the democratic processes of other nations is a clear marker of authoritarian thinking. But the story with France is far darker than wine tariffs. We have now learned shocking new information that the Trump regime attempted to interfere directly in France's judicial system. Judge Magali Lafarde, who is presiding over the corruption case against Marine Le Pen, the far-right French leader and ally of Vladimir Putin, has revealed that she was harassed and threatened by Trump emissaries. Think about what that means. The Trump administration sent people to Paris, approached a foreign judge, and attempted to pressure her into going easy on a political criminal. Judge Lafarde immediately reported the incident to French authorities. This is a blatant violation of another nation's sovereignty. Trump is not content with undermining the rule of law in the United States. He is trying to export corruption and lawlessness to Europe. He wants to protect his far-right allies around the world, regardless of the laws of their own countries. This behavior makes it clear that Trump sees himself as a global mafia boss, operating above all international law. In that same disastrous press conference, Trump displayed a truly pathological obsession with Greenland. He was practically foaming at the mouth as he talked about the island. He said, "We have to have it. I need it. Denmark has to give it to me." And what was his justification? He said, "A boat went there 500 years ago, so they say it's theirs, it's mine, and I'm going to take it." This is the mindset of 16th century colonialism. Trump believes he can redraw the map of the world based on distorted versions of history and his own bottomless greed. He completely ignores the right of the people of Greenland to self-determination. He shows total contempt for the sovereignty of the Kingdom of Denmark, a key NATO ally. Senator Ruben Gallego called Trump insane and out of his mind over these remarks. Gallego warned that this obsession is not a joke. Trump is openly threatening war with a NATO ally. He is willing to sacrifice the lives of young American soldiers to seize land simply because he wants his name attached to it. Soldiers from Ohio, Arizona, and New York would be sent to bleed and die for a meaningless war. Trump does not care about their lives. He cares only about expanding the imaginary real estate empire in his head. Trump's media machine is now trying to rationalize this madness. Sean Hannity on Fox News floated a grotesque idea, giving every person in Greenland $100,000, even $500,000 to buy them off. Hannity said, "Only America could do this. Help them build wealth." This way of thinking assumes that everything and everyone can be bought with money. They do not understand that the people of Greenland want to live in peace, protect their culture, and preserve their way of life. They do not want to be pawns in Trump's geopolitical chess game. The proposal to use American taxpayer money to bribe an entire people for the purpose of annexation is an insult to American values. Trump and his propaganda apparatus are trying to normalize international plunder. You have to see the real danger here. A president willing to invade allies for personal greed is the single greatest threat to global security. Trump continued his rage by attacking Norway and the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. He claimed that Norway controls the prize and that they were wrong not to give it to him. He said, "I don't care what Norway says. There's no more being nice now." Listen carefully to that threat. Trump is saying he will change U.S. foreign policy, provoke wars, and create conflict simply because he did not receive a trophy. This is the psychology of a spoiled child who just happens to control the most powerful military on earth. He is willing to throw the world into chaos because his ego was bruised. Trump then followed this with another blatant lie. He said, "A very nice woman named Maria Machado thinks I deserve the prize, so I received the prize from Machado." He could not even get her name right. He was referring to Maria Corina Machado, the Democratic opposition leader in Venezuela. But what is the truth? Trump betrayed her. He pushed her aside in order to cut deals with the Maduro dictatorship. He allowed Delcy Rodriguez, a brutal authoritarian figure, and Diosdado Cabello, Maduro's chief enforcer, to remain in power and continue repressing the Venezuelan people. Why did Trump do this? For money. Trump struck a deal to extract Venezuelan oil, sell it through friendly right-wing oligarchs, and funnel hundreds of millions of dollars in profits into a bank account in Qatar that he controls. Pro-democracy leaders like Machado would never allow that kind of blatant corruption, so Trump chose the dictators. He chose cash over freedom. He used Machado's name to polish his own image while stabbing her and Venezuela's democratic movement in the back. This exposes the core of Trump's hypocrisy. He does not care about freedom or democracy anywhere in the world. He cares only about enriching himself and his family. The bank account in Qatar is the clearest evidence that Trump's foreign policy is not about national interest or peace. It is a personal money-making scheme. In his delusional state, Trump also painted a completely false picture of the U.S. economy. He declared, "Inflation is over. We have the best economy in history. Prices are coming down." Anyone who goes to the grocery store or fills up their gas tank knows this is a lie. Prices remain at record highs, and Americans are struggling just to cover basic necessities. But Trump lives in a different reality. He claimed he inherited a mess and turned it into the hottest country in the world. The truth is, he inherited an economy that was recovering strongly and is now wrecking it with reckless tariff policies and constant instability. When asked what message he would bring to Davos, Switzerland, Trump said, "The message is that we're doing very well. The stock market is at an all-time high." He only cares about stock market numbers that benefit the ultra-wealthy, not about the lives of ordinary working people. He even told reporters, "You benefit too, you've got a 401k. The arrogance and detachment from reality are staggering. He assumes every American lives off the stock market. Trump is heading to Davos to sell a lie to the global elite, but the world no longer believes him. Economic leaders in Davos understand the truth. They see the real economic indicators. They see the danger of the trade wars Trump is igniting. They see the risk created by the political instability he manufactures. Trump thinks he can deceive the entire world the same way he deceives his supporters at campaign rallies. But in Davos, he will face isolation and contempt. The lie about the hottest economy will collapse when confronted with cold data and global skepticism. He is steering the United States toward recession and renewed inflation while continuing to brag about imaginary achievements. We cannot ignore the systematic cover-up surrounding the Epstein files. Scott Jennings, a regime propagandist on CNN, tried to downplay the importance of releasing Jeffrey Epstein's client list. He said, "Don't overreact. Don't get your underwear in a twist. That attitude is truly disgusting. We are talking about an international sex trafficking operation involving children and women, spanning generations. Who are Scott Jennings and the right wing trying to protect? Why are they so terrified of the truth coming out?" Lee McGowan from Midas Touch pushed back forcefully, pointing out that this is exactly how guilty people behave. They are hiding something. The Epstein files may contain names that could bring down an entire power structure. They could implicate Democrats, Republicans, princes, world leaders, and Hollywood elites alike. But the Trump camp is acting as if they are above the law. They missed the legally required 30-day deadline to release the files. They refuse to explain why critical information is being heavily redacted. They are even trying to pass new legislation so the records never have to be released at all. There is a clear sense that a cabal, a shadowy group of mutual protection, is at work. Trump had a long-standing relationship with Epstein. The delay and concealment by his administration raised serious questions. Is Trump protecting himself or powerful friends? Scott Jennings' silence and mockery are a slap in the face to the victims. They want justice, and instead they are met with ridicule. You need to understand that this rot runs throughout the political system. When the law is not enforced against the richest and most powerful, democracy is dead. We are living under a two-tier justice system where the most horrific crimes against children are swept under the rug to protect elite reputations. Now look at what is happening domestically with Trump's law enforcement forces. Sean Hannity tried to defend Greg Bovino, a Border Patrol commander, against comparisons to Nazis. Hannity said, "They're calling him a Nazi just because he's wearing a long coat in cold weather." That is how they deliberately swap definitions. People are not calling Bovino a Nazi because of his coat. They are calling him and his forces Nazis because of their actions. They are using tactics straight out of the Gestapo and the SS. They are storming communities, firing tear gas at civilians, assaulting innocent people, and killing them. 7 people have already died at the hands of ICE and Border Patrol this year alone. That is a real number, not a fashion statement. Bovino went on television laughing, saying, "This coat dates back to 1924, it's very warm." He completely ignored the brutality his forces are inflicting. This is the normalization of state violence. When law enforcement officials can kill people and then go on national television to joke about their clothing, we are living under an authoritarian regime. Trump is militarizing domestic policing to serve his political goals. He is turning them into a personal army, ready to suppress anyone who opposes him. Deploying these forces into cities and states that do not support Trump is an unmistakable act of intimidation. You have to see the connection between rhetoric and action. Trump calls his opponents vermin and the enemy within, and then he unleashes armed forces to attack them. These tactics are no different from what happened in Germany in the 1930s. Cruelty is the point. They want you to be afraid. They want you to believe resistance is futile, but you cannot give in to fear. You must call this exactly what it is. This is not law enforcement. This is state-sponsored terror backed by the federal government. Senator Ruben Gallego, a former U.S. Marine, has issued the starkest warnings of all. He did not use diplomatic language. He flatly called Trump a madman. Gallego told Anderson Cooper, "Stop pretending this is rational. This man is threatening war with a NATO ally. He is not normal." Gallego understands the cost of war better than most. He knows exactly who pays the price. It will not be Trump's children. Barron Trump or Don Jr. will not be carrying rifles to Greenland. The ones who will die on the frozen ice are young men and women from Ohio, New Mexico, Arizona, and New York. Working-class Americans who join the military for a chance at a better life or to serve their country. They will be turned into cannon fodder for the ego of a selfish president. Gallego said, "It'll be another Ruben Gallego, a Navajo friend of mine, who has to go fight in these stupid wars." This is the brutal truth of every dictator's war. The poor die so the rich can gain more power. Trump is willing to sacrifice an entire generation of young Americans just to satisfy a tantrum over not receiving a Nobel Prize. He treats the military as his personal toy, not as a force sworn to defend the Constitution and the people. Gallego warned that without intervention, Trump will destroy NATO and the U.S. economy without Congress or the public ever consenting. This is a direct threat to national security. A mentally unstable president controlling the most powerful military on earth is the worst-case scenario. We are standing on the edge of a man-made catastrophe. Voices like Gallego's, voices of real veterans, must be heard. They know what war truly is, unlike Trump, who dodged the draft 5 times because of bone spurs. The contrast between a real soldier and a coward in power has never been clearer. Trump's actions are driving the United States into an unprecedented level of isolation. We are losing the respect of the entire world. Traditional allies are now looking at us with a mix of horror and pity. They are beginning to build defensive mechanisms to protect themselves from America's unpredictability. When a U.S. president threatens to impose tariffs on allies, interferes in foreign courts, and tears up international agreements, the nation's credibility is completely destroyed. Trade deals, military alliances, and diplomatic agreements all rest on trust, and Trump has killed that trust. The world no longer believes America's word. Countries are actively seeking new partners. China and Russia are seizing this moment to expand their influence, pointing to America's chaos and hypocrisy to pull other nations into their orbit. Trump is handing our geopolitical rivals victory on a silver platter. He is weakening the U.S. dollar, eroding America's soft power, and dismantling our ability to lead on the global stage. You will feel the consequences of this in everyday life. Prices for imported goods will rise as retaliatory tariffs take effect. American businesses will lose access to foreign markets. Travel and global commerce will become more difficult. We are on the path to becoming an isolated, angry, and poorer nation. Trump promised to make America great again, but he is making America smaller and more alone. This isolation is not strength, it is weakness. A superpower cannot survive without allies. But Trump, trapped in short-term transactional thinking, does not understand the value of friendship and cooperation. He sees only immediate gain and is willing to burn the future to get it. We are witnessing the collapse of the U.S.-led world order, and the person swinging the wrecking ball is the President of the United States. All of this evidence leads to one unavoidable conclusion. It is time to invoke the 25th Amendment. The United States Constitution provides a mechanism to remove a president who is no longer capable of carrying out the duties of the office. Donald Trump has clearly demonstrated that he is no longer fit. Psychological instability, paranoia, loss of behavioral control, and reckless threats to national security are signs that cannot be ignored. He is an immediate danger to the Republic. The people around him, his cabinet, his vice president, know this. They see it every day. Yet they remain silent out of fear or naked ambition. Their silence is complicity. We must apply pressure to Congress and government officials to act. This is not a partisan issue. This is about protecting the survival of the country. We cannot wait until he launches a nuclear conflict or completely destroys the economy. Every day he remains in office is another day the nation moves closer to the abyss. You, as a citizen, have the right and the duty to speak out, call your representatives, share the truth, refuse to normalize this madness. Do not let cynicism paralyze you. Do not let them distract you with petty culture wars. Focus on the core issue. An unstable man is running the country, and he must be stopped. History will judge us by how we respond in this dark moment. Will we stand by as democracy collapses, or will we rise up to defend it? Real power belongs to the people, and the time has come to use that power to take our country back from an unhinged tyrant. Tie it all together. The deranged press conference, the invitation to Putin, the threats against France, the obsession with Greenland, the betrayal of Venezuela, the Epstein scandal, the brutality of the border forces, and Senator Gallego's warning. These are not random, disconnected events. They are pieces of a terrifying larger picture. It is the picture of a state being captured, a government that no longer serves the people, but serves the interests of one man and a small circle of loyalists. A government willing to sell out national sovereignty, trample human rights, and destroy strategic alliances in exchange for money and absolute power. Trump is building a system of rule based on fear, lies, and violence. He is trying to turn the United States into a version of Russia or Hungary. He wants to eliminate all checks and balances. He wants to silence the press, intimidate the judiciary, and co-opt the military. What we are witnessing is the final stage of state capture. If we do not act now, we will lose the chance to fix it. The system will be broken beyond repair. Figures like Scott Jennings, Sean Hannity, and Greg Bovino are cogs in this machine. They help keep it running by hiding the truth and attacking those who speak it. We must expose them. We must shine light into the dark corners they want to keep hidden. The truth is our most powerful weapon. When people fully understand the nature of this regime, they will no longer support it. That is why Trump fears the truth. That is why he attacks judges, journalists, and investigators. He knows his house is built on sand, and the truth is the tsunami that will wash it all away. Hold fast to your faith in the power of truth and justice. This fight will be difficult, but it is a fight worth having. For the future of our children, for the honor of our country, we cannot afford to fail.